command of the master without any question of why and what. I am the slave of the master who has released me from ignorance. Whatever my master does is of the highest benefit to all concerned. Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai. These are two out of the three couplets of Hafiz, the perfect master and poet Hafiz. And these couplets were brought out on the day when Baba dropped his body. And this was brought out by none other than Aloba ji. So we are going to speak a little bit on Aloba ji because these two couplets very much apply to Aloba ji. I purposely did not say the middle one about what you hear from the master. Never say it is false because, my dear, the fault lies in your own incapacity to understand him. But these two apply very much to Aloba. Aloba, in a sense, celebrated his 104th birthday yesterday. So we are going to speak a little bit on Aloba. For those who know Aloba, he was a very ferocious Baba lover, to a point where Baba would say that his love frightens me, and when he does certain things, Baba says, I'm going through palpitation, because he was such a focused, one-pointed Baba lover. For those who know Aloba ji, there's nothing new for it. So we'll just try to remember him. He was born on the 12th of July 1916 in a place called Yazd in central Iran. And when he was just a young kid of about 7 years old, he was brought to Bombay. And he worked as a waiter, you may say, table boy, in one of the Irani hotels of his own uncle. In those days, even now, we do find a lot of Irani hotels, mostly owned by the Parsi Iranis, that is the Zoroastrian Iranis, or the Muslim Iranis. Obviously, he was a Muslim. So he was brought to Bombay and he worked as a table boy, whatever you call it, as a waiter, giving service to people, ordering for chai, bun maska, brun maska, etc., etc. One fine day, his uncle saw an advertisement in the newspaper. It was a Persian newspaper, which said that there is a certain school who wants to have, they want to take in certain young boys, and where education, academic as well as spiritual education, would be given entirely free of charge. So obviously, his name was Ali Akbar Sapur Zaman. Ali Akbar Sapur Zaman, original name. How it became Aloba, we'll come to that a little later. So he was inducted in the school and he studied there for a while, for a few years. And from that school, certain boys were chosen who had that something in them, what you may call as a spiritual yearning, a kind of a love for God, a kind of a seeker. And so they had a separate school called the Prem Ashram, and he was one of the boys who was selected from the main Hazrat Babajan school to the Prem Ashram. So he was in the Prem Ashram as well. Then his uncle's business wound up and something or the other happened and he was taken out of the school and he was in Bombay for quite a while. After about 6 years or so, Baidul, Aga Baidul, again his name is not Aga Baidul, his name is Rustam Zafrabadi, but Baba used to give different names to different people and we don't want to get into why he was called Aga Baidul. Some other time we would do that. It's a very, humorous incident. So Aga Baidul and so Ali happened to meet Aga Baidul. And again, once again, that yearning to be with Baba, to know more about Baba, where is he, what is he doing, because he was separated from Baba for quite some time. So he got to know about Baba and eventually he went to have Baba's darshan in Nasik in the year 1934. And then on and off he would be with Baba, and finally, once and for all, he joined Baba in 1949 during the time when Baba ventured on what he called the new life. So Aloba was one of that. That's a great honor. He was one of the 16 men who accompanied Baba as companion, to Meher Baba, and he was on the new life as well. And then after the new life, as you know, it all, like we call it, a completed and Manonash period, and then they all settled at Merazat. So from that time onwards, he became a permanent resident Mandali at Merazat. Now, how we got the name Aloba? See, the team of new life people, the companions, would be going from one place to another, and there was a lot of riots and violence between the Hindu and the Muslims. And there were places when only Hindus were allowed to stay, like a dharamshala or something. And this person was Ali. And then there was another one called Ghani, Dr. Ghani. He was also a Muslim. And the name would definitely not allow them to enter and stay at places which were earmarked only for the Hindus. So obviously, Baba, see, now you may say from the strictest point of view, this is cheating. Let's put it that way. But then no, Baba made Ghani Ganoba and made Ali Aloba. And that's how Aloba got his name Aloba. And since then, that name has stuck to him. Stuck so firmly that even our Postmaster General has named his son Aloba. Rakesh's nickname as Aloba. Okay. Now, Aloba, as I said earlier, was very emotional, very passionate, very, what should I say, fanatic about his love for Baba. To a point where, he would be ogling at Baba, he would be looking at Baba with such intensity that Baba would feel very uncomfortable about it. To a point where Baba restricted him from seeing him at all. And still he just could not contain that love for Baba, And then Baba made him wear, dark glasses, goggles, so that Baba does not see him seeing Baba, that kind of thing. But even that did not, what should I say, satiate Alobaji's love and passion towards Baba, And once it so happened, there's this story. First of all, I need to thank Merchant Nori, because he was the one who requested me, who told me that why don't you speak about Aloba, because his birthday went yesterday. I said, okay, let me see, we can do a little justice, because for those who know Aloba, you can write a book on his experiences and how many times he has predicted Baba's manifestation. He has predicted Baba's breaking of his silence. He said Baba came and told me, and he would circulate it, what should I say, absolutely convincingly, boldly, unashamedly throughout the world. But then nothing would happen and he would feel very despondent about it. And then it went on like this for quite a while. You see, so once it so happened that they happened to see one gentleman going, always every day going past the gate of Guru Prasad. And Baba just wondered as to who is this person who he was serving a priest in the some church or something like that, So the point is that before Baba could complete his instructions to Aloba, what is supposed to be done, he would shoot out like a bullet from a gun, he would just shoot out. And it is said that he did not, there was a railing on the Guru Prasad stuff, So even without, he jumped through that, and there was a gate which was closed. So he, instead of opening the gate, which had, some locks and all that, he jumped over the gate and stood straight before that man. And very fast, he got all the information about that man. What is his name? Where does he stay? What does he do? Where is he going? All that stuff. And Baba was very pleased about it. But Baba also confessed that when you do all these things, I palpitate. You put me into palpitation when you do all these things. And many times it happens like that, even when ghazals or qawwalis would be going on, he would become very ecstatic, He would just jump up and start dancing, and in such a way that it disturbs Baba's mood, because Baba is in a mood to listen to a nice kawali and here this fellow is just jumping up in what should I say, ecstasy, and that way. So once Baba was in a mood to see, today I'm in a very good mood to listen to ghazal and all that. So I think if I'm not mistaken, it's Baidul. He told Baidul that, Baidul, today you are in charge of Aloba. You please ensure that it doesn't do any of this nonsense, because I am in a real deep mood to listen to a nice ghazal. I think it was a Kawali. So see that it doesn't happen. So Baidul, they were all absolutely strong people. If you have met them, if you have seen them, they were very individualistic. They were not lollipoppy, yes, Baba, like that. They were very much individual people, strong physically, mentally, emotionally. So Baidul said, Baba, don't worry about it. You know, don't worry about it. मैं देखता हूँ एक कैसा तो उसको दबा के बैठाएगा ऐसा करके. And Baidul was a huge fellow, and this was a little puny. He was a little puny. So Baba said, thank God, So Aloba is sitting and Baidul is watching over him that no nonsense today. And then the Kawali went on so beautifully that a time came when Baidul started dancing. And Baba said, oh my God, this idiot Irani issue, I'm fed up of these people. What sort of Mandali I have got, that way. So that was the thing. Then one fine day, after Baba dropped his body, after Baba dropped his body, he got a hooky, he also gets a hooky. After all, he was a Irani and a Muslim Irani. He got a hooky that I must find out Baba's missing book. We all know that Baba wrote a book which nobody knows where it is and what is the whereabouts of the book. That he started writing the book immediately 3 days after his silence on the 13th of July 1925, and he started it in his Jobdi. And then he wrote in several places, including at what we call it, at that time it used to be called Khadda. What we call Samadhi now was called Khadda. So Baba used to go there and write. Then Baba used to write in the table cabin, which is now their table house, you call it. So at different places. So, and it is not available. There are many people who are researching, but nobody could find out where it is. So then, okay. He said, I must find that book and I will find the book somehow or the other. And then he went to Erach and they all respected Erach very much, So they went to Erach and said, come, whatever you call it, whatever it is, I will find the book. But Erach said, how will you find the book? Nobody knows. I even don't know. Where will you find the book? I said, before that, why don't you, before finding the book, why don't you ask Baba? Why don't, and he seemed to have a direct connection with Baba. So what he would do, normally what he would do, and we have seen it over and over again, that he would put two kaplis, two notes. One is yes and one is no. Or something like that, And then he would put it before Baba's place at the cushion where at Mehrazad there's Baba's chair. So the soft cushion is there. He would put it on that and then he would offer prayers to Baba and then lift one. Of course, he will mix it up and cook. And then he would think about whether to go about searching for the book or not. That was one way of his doing it. And he used to apply that for so many things. When people would go to Aloba and asking Aloba, अभी इससे शादी करने का है कि नहीं करने का है, ये नौकरी लेने का है कि नहीं लेने का है, anybody, anything, he would just say कापली लगाएगा, बाबा के सामने बैठेगा, prayer करेगा, and then he will pick and say do or don't do, something like that. And the second way of modus operandi is to open up what is called fal. There is a book called Diwane Hafiz, and they have this habit, even in the Mehrazad, when Baba was there, they used to do, they would just open up randomly any page and then that would give them the answer of what they are looking for. So he thought that so he one day decided that tomorrow I am going to open the book. It's called fal. They call the procedure, I suppose, is called fal. I'll open the book and then we'll see. So it says that he came into the Mandali room, where Erach, Pendu, I think Mani, Goher, everybody was sitting over there to see what the result is going to be, like how the examination result come. So they are all attentively seeing, and nobody knows how to read the language. Aloba knew, of course. Perhaps Mani would be knowing, I don't know. So when he opened that particular page, there were several stanzas, there were several paragraphs, and all the paragraphs would end with Ma Posh, Ma Posh, Ma Posh, Ma Posh, which means don't ask, don't ask, don't ask, don't ask. So then the whole what should I say, Garmi, the whole enthusiasm of going in search of the book just got lost, and then he was okay. All right, there are many stories, as I said. Then we distinctly remember going to Mehrazad. In those days, it used to be till 5 o'clock in the evening, and Aloba ji was in charge of tea, and he would give, he wanted to save on money. So the tea patti and all that, doodh would be very expensive. So he made simple lemon tea, hot water with lime, and it was really very tasty, really very tasty. People would ask for more. So he would lagao the ghanti, ding, 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 tea time, and everybody, wherever they may be, most of us would be sitting in the Mandali hall listening to Erach or Mani or whosoever is there at that time. And then they will also encourage, go on, go, chai ka time ho gaya, go for tea. And then he would pour tea, or keep the cups ready. And then at the end of the session, he would say, few drops, anybody, few drops, anybody, few drops. So little few drops he would pour in cups, and then that was Aloba ji. And then time to depart, he would be so disciplined in the sense that even though Mani may be talking or Erach may be talking, he would make a ruckus and say that now time to depart, so everybody has to go, and the bus is ready to go to Mehrabad, and that was Aloba. And many times some people would leave their scarf or the purse or whatever, some items, So he would come out to the bus with that hanging thing, and in his special English, he would say, who belongs to this? Who belongs to this? Who belongs to this? And then somebody would say, oh, yeah, it's mine, it's mine. And that is how we remember Aloba. The last thing that we know is after Baba dropped his body, after several years after Baba dropped his body, Erach dropped his body in 2001, as we all know. And at that time, Bhauji was very sick at that time. And it was very likely that Bhauji would now die. And Aloba was so upset that Bhauji should not die, because if he dies, then he will be placed next to Erach. And he said that it is my prerogative to be buried or to be interred next to Erach and not Bhauji. He is a young boy. He is just come. He used to feel that he is a newcomer. Bhauji is a newcomer. He can't be buried. That is not fair. I should be buried. I should be next to Erach and not Bhauji. And actually, it happened like that he had a fall and he broke his hip. And he had to be taken to the Pune hospital, the Jahangir nursing home. And when he was going, he bid farewell to everybody. And he said, I am not going to come back. That was one prediction which turned out to be correct. He said, I am not going to come back. And he showed into his room Mehraban. He told Mehraban, come into my room. Ye idhar chai hai, idhar ye hai, idhar sabun hai, detergent powder is here. This is how you wash the cup. This is how you do this. So he gave last moment instruction like how we give. This is my will. This is my whatever. So he told everything about the chai ka thing and all that. And then he bid farewell to everybody, very emphatically saying, because everybody said, no, Aloba ji, don't worry, you will come back hale and hearty. He said, no, I will not come back. And he went to the nursing home for the operation. Now, this is what I heard. I have not read it. It must be true, because he would constantly jabber about Baba, 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 Baba. So the doctors and nurses, when they were taking him to the operation table, said, please keep quiet. Please shant ho jao. Okay? Don't keep on saying this. We need to focus on your operation and all that. Then if you have seen him very, very ferociously, okay, I won't speak now. Jai Baba. He said, Jai Baba. And he died on the operation table. So this is the man, I would say, a very, very strong-willed Baba lover. And so we remember him today. Yesterday was his birthday, as I said, and he died on 13th of August 2002. 13th August 2002. So that is the story about Aloba ji. I'm sure every one of us, I just remembered a very small story. He had come to the center, Bombay center, and I was wearing a similar watch. Can you see this watch with a Baba's face on it? A similar watch. It was not the same watch, but something similar. And he saw it. Where did you get this from? I said, I bought it from somewhere. I like it very much. Immediately I removed it and gave it. No, I will not take it. I said, I feel happy that you, no, I will pay the money. I said, it's a very cheap one. Don't worry about the money. No, I will. So he gave me some 50 rupees or whatever he gave. I accepted that money and the watch, I gave it to him. The another, I remember, I don't know whether, is Jimu here from Dubai? Is it today on the screen, on the group? Jimmy. Jimmy is there on anyway. So Jimmy is my nephew. That my sister, Jimmy is there. Jimmy is there. You can see Jimmy. So he wanted to visit Jimmy's home at Bombay. You know, now everybody knows that he's a very ferocious person to a point where if you put anybody else's photograph other than Baba, he gets very wild. Even if it is Zoroaster. So my sister Dinu, he said, Baba, Aloba ji aave badda photo kari nako. Remove all the photographs and only Baba's photograph was there. Meher is also there. Oh, I'm so sorry. Meher, where are you? Oh, Dilshad is there. But Dilshad is second hand, not first hand.
Meher.
Where's Meher?
Meher is
No, there's no Meher. Okay, anyway. So, Aloba ji goes and sees like this, you know. There was some other photograph over here. I said, no, Dinu, no, Dinu. Okay, then, you know, he put that photograph. Am I right, Jimmy? Something like that, or would you like to share the story? And then, and the other thing is, he would carry.
He came to see whether
And after some time, he again came to see, without any notice, to see. Mayor is there. Mayor Patel, wave out your hand so that we know Jimmy and wave my nephew. So then so as to establish and ascertain that the photo is kept over there. And he would carry Baba's photographs and sometimes frames, you know, in his jola with a hammer and a nail. And whenever he would go to hospital, Baba ka photo nahi hai, idhar Baba ka photo nahi hai, karke, and he would take the permission and put the nail and put on Baba's, jabardasti sort of thing, you know, photograph. So he was so passionate about Baba. Very rarely we come across somebody who's so very passionate about him. So that's all about Aloba ji. We pay our respects to him. I'm sure he's with Baba, enjoying Baba's company. Fortunately, not giving him palpitation now. Because, okay. Now the other thing, second thing is, the other day we were talking about electrification of Mehrabad, Mehrazad, and Soumya being Soumya, she said, no, I must go through all the books and find out what is the correct position. So she will just read out a few things so as to clarify certain things about the electrification of Mehrabad, Mehrazad. And after that, I like to honor Sam Patel's wish about that photograph which is there behind. So I would like to, because he had requested me the other day and I said, not today because our plan was, you know, well scheduled. So today I'll do that for all of us. Okay, go ahead.
This is from the book, this book.
Meher Baba's New Life.
Yeah, New Life. And page 89, this happened on October 12, 1949. The Padri completed the work of installing electrical fittings with an engine and dynamo at Mehrazad. As Baba had said, it was his habit to continue with the old order of things right up to the moment when he would begin something new. The electrical inspector was summoned, and after testing the equipment and finding it satisfactory, he permitted its use. That evening, Mehrazad was lit up for the first time. Baba, however, found the noise of the generator disturbing. So, after that first evening, the lights were not used. So, it started, but I also remember reading, even in 1959, there was no light. But it started, actually, electrification started in 1949.
Because the other day she said 1949. and Meherchand corrected that it was much later. So this was in 1949 through generator in Mehrazad. So we are just putting the record straight so that if it goes up, wherever it goes up, it should be properly kept. We try to be as exact as
Correct.
possible, not that we are always exact. And if at all we have
Correct.
blundered, we always like to be corrected. We would love to be corrected because somebody phoned and said something who people may not like. I said, no, nothing like that. There is no question of any ego or anything like that. It's just that we need to put things in right perspective and in a proper, because now it's all digitalized. Now it's all going in the so-called cloud or Facebook or whatever, YouTube. So let's try to be as exact as we can. So she said, let me correct this. Anything else? Okay, fine. So that finishes our second point on the agenda. Yes, Sami, go ahead. Unmute.
There are two instances with Aloba ji I'd like to share. They're
Please.
rather funny ones.
Yes, please.
Before we get on to the other subjects, in the olden days during Amar Tithi, in the evening, people would sit around and Aloba ji or Eraj would sit on the Jhopri ka parapet, and people would sit around and they would talk about Baba, and all these discussions would go on. One such evening I happened to be there, and there was this young, I think Andhraite couple who happened to just walk by, and meekly that fellow just bowed down and paid his respects to Aloba ji, and he said, Jai Baba, Aloba, Jai Baba. The minute Aloba saw that fellow, he said, Idhar aao, tumko bacha ho gaya. So everybody was stunned, ki kya ho gaya, what is happening? It so happened that last year, this couple had approached Aloba ji and said, ki bhai, we do not have any kids, so kindly please pray for us. And so this is, Aloba was asking about that. Bacha ho gaya tumko? So they said, no sir, nahi ho gaya. ऐसा कैसा हो गया? हमने तुमको क्या बोला था? आपने बोला था आरती करने को. आप आरती करता है रोज? हाँ जी करता है. आरती करता है, 1 साल हो गया, बच्चा नहीं हो गया, कैसा ऐसा कैसा हो गया? चलो आरती बोलो. He asked them to recite the आरती. He said, sir, हमको आरती नहीं आता. आप आरती कैसा करता है? हम टेप रिकॉर्डर बजाता है. So Aloba ji got so wild. He said, वो टेप रिकॉर्डर को बच्चा होएगा, तुमको कैसा बच्चा होएगा? This was one of the funny incidents.
Yeah.
And another one, Aloba ji had come to visit my house, and after that I was to drop him at Malabar Hill. That time Asti Elavia used to be a manager in a building called El Cid. The building is still there. And there is this Parsi family who had kind of ghosts in their house. Now, I wasn't aware of all this thing at all. So we land up over there, and Aloba ji asks Aspi, he says, chalo, wo kidhar hai? So it seems that family used to make apna hearing aids called Arfi. So we landed up in their house, and they were not there, the owners weren't there. So the ayah made us sit on the balcony, and then slowly Aloba ji asked, he says, Tum idhar. First thing he asked her, Tum Christian hai? So she said, yeah. Aloba ji was very dadagiri, Tumko malum hai hum kaun hai? She said, no. So Aloba ji said, Hum Christ ka doot hai. I am the messenger of Christ.
Christ ka doot hai.
So that bichari aaya aaji karke. Then they offered some soft drink or something. So we both of us had. I was halfway through that thing and Aloba ji suddenly says, "Chalo, हमको बताओ वो भूत किधर है?" I started vamping. I said, "This bloody in broad daylight, ye bhoot foot and all." That was never been my cup of tea, you know. So we put the thing aside and Aloba ji got up and she is taking him into that room. Aloba says, "Son, come with me." I said, "No, no, aap jaake aao, I'm okay over here." But he insisted and he dragged me by my hand and took me into that room. And we could see that the lady's makeup and everything was just thrown around. And, you know, like some evil spirit was making mischief over there. So when I was really scared, I was sweating and all. So Aloba says, "Don't worry, Sam Patel, don't worry. Baba is with us." I said, "Yes, yes, Baba, thank you very much." Finally, he told that girl, that Aya, तुम्हारा साहब को बोलो रोज सुबह इधर बाबा का प्रेयर करने का, 1 महीना के बाद सीधा मेरा बात जाने का, उधर पगे पड़ने का, and this bhoot will go away. The minute we came out, I just picked up my little gatli potli and I ran. I said, "Baba, jaan chuti." So this is what Alobaji used to do also. It sort of seemed like, you remember that in the olden days there was this movie called The Exorcist, where so it was something like that, which yours truly had to go through. So these are just 2 incidents of Alobaji that I remember. Thank you.
Thank you. Dilmeher wants to share something. Dilmeher, come in. Unmute your mic. Unmute your mic.
Yeah, very quickly, sorry. You can hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
very clear.
Yes. What you said about your nephew and niece, yeah, Aloba ji had come to my place in Pune also. He used to come every year and there used to be this postcard which used to come. You know, I am coming to your house at 10:25 and I will sit till 10:35 in your house and then I will go. It was very precise. And he would apologize if he came late because that one Mr. Refade used to bring him. He used to come in his car. So when I had just shifted to Pune, my mother-in-law had gifted us this Zoroaster Zartushtra ka wall carpet, you know, the huge one, which is in my hall. So my mother told me, "Jo tu kari de, if you know Aloba ji says hey, you take this out, and what will you answer your mother-in-law? And you're just shifted into this house, etc." And I said, "Yes, yes," and somehow it just didn't happen. So he had his rose sarbat or whatever because he was not very fond of chai. I think everybody gave him chai. He saw that picture and he was so fascinated. He went there and in Urdu or Persian, it was written good thoughts, good words, good deeds. So he told me, "Get a paper, get a pen," and then he said it in Persian. The actual good thoughts, good words, good deeds, and he made me write it and say, okay, you need to keep this with you. So I remember that I had also gone through this photo thing because I know he used to throw away everybody's house में all the gods ka photos. One more short incident is that he had come to Navsari once and I was also there in Navsari and he was having lot of loose motions. He was just not getting well. And he would say, "I'm not going to eat anything," but being an Irani, I guess he loved kalingar, watermelon. So he would say, "I'm not going to eat anything but only little kalingar." And then my dad was not around. Then he came and I was there. And then he said, "You stop giving him watermelon. That's what is causing his loose motions. Stop it." But he said, "No, I will eat. Won't eat anything but kalinga." And poor fellow, he was miserable over there till some medication was given. Just I wanted to share these two things. And I think also Cyrus,
Yeah.
he breathed his last in Lex Budrani. What I recollect.
In where? In where?
In another hospital, not in Jangir hospital.
Okay.
What I recollect, because 13th August is my mom's birthday, and I remember we had both walked down, and it's very close to my place. And I know that Jangir was where Bhauji was, but I will check again. But this is not related.
Please do and correct me if so, because
No.
we want to. No, we want to keep up, because I got this from the net that he
Then
was the Jang. But
what
but
I
definitely
recollect is going to this place, but it could be some other Baba Premi, and I am a Baba Mandali person, and I am getting confused.
Okay,
That could be the thing. Okay.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Huh?
Thank
Lovely.
you. Okay.
Does our Postmaster General have a photograph of Aloba ji? Somebody wants to see Aloba ji, not your son's photo, huh?
I'll have to find it. I have.
Okay. Soumya is trying to find it here.
Yeah.
Soumya says that it is there in the book. We'll just see if we
You
can find.
WhatsApp me.
I think Avi wanted to see how Aloba ji looks. I'm sure we do have a lot, but I don't want to get up now. So we'll do that. All right. Now,
Cyrus.
Yes.
Ask Rakesh how Aloba was instrumental in his marriage and why he named his son Aloba. Ask him to share that story.
Actually, that is nothing to do with our Aloba. But since this request has come from my dear Yasmin, I can't refuse her. So, Rakesh ji, you have a little time to please share. Don't share the intricacies of your marriage. But okay, somebody is posting Aloba. Is that so? Okay, thank you, sir. So this is Aloba ji. That is for Avi. A short stature. Yeah. In our Bombay center, we have a gentleman by the name Parvez. Parvez Patel, who looks, at least the facial part, not the body and the height, exactly or almost exactly like Aloba. We were taken aback when we saw it. I remember Sam also saying, exact Aloba jeva lage karina, that. So I don't know whether Aban is there today on the. Yeah, this is Aloba. See, this is Aloba during the Prem Ashram time.
No, not during.
This was.
Okay.
Okay. Now, Soumya says not during, because it's a small. Okay, fine. Now, Rakesh, you can share what made you give Aloba the name to your son.
So,
Don't feel shy, yaar.
no, I have to recall.
Let me tell Ashima that you forgot everything about marriage. So,
No, I remember.
No, it was not about marriage. It was more about Aloba, I mean, the way he was, like you mentioned, is to just call you and sometimes tells you to do things which, it goes beyond our understanding, like why he is actually telling you to do all that, So, and it should be very difficult at times, and so, but what happened is when Aloba, I mean, he died. So, I mean, Ashu was pregnant with Aloba, and Nikki and we were there. His body was in the Mandali hall and all. I mean, lying there, like all the Mandali members, they put the body for some time in the Mandali hall in Mehrabad.
Yes.
We went to attend that funeral. We were there, luckily, we were in Pune, we just drew down now. So, over there, then everybody was there, and Nikki went in. Nikki being like 2 years, and people wonder sometimes how I'm getting such small kids over there. But that didn't really matter. So I just came up, and the kids would not sit for a long time. So we just bowed down, and we were sitting outside the hall. So I told Nikki, let's go once more. So I went once more. I went, bowed down, and paid my respect, came out. Then suddenly the thought came, I asked Nikki, let's keep the baby who's coming, his name Aloba. So how do you feel about it? So Nikki said, fine. And so we decided then that minute that his name is Aloba, and that's how we kept his name, you know.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
so when Ashu came out after 5 minutes, he said his name is Aloba. She got shocked. Bola, what do you mean? Bola, yeah, his name is Aloba. No options. The end of it. Nikki and me decided and end of it. That's about it. And then, I mean, a lot of small stories used to be there. Like, you know, when he was 2 years old, we were in the Samadhi and he was playing around, just running. So suddenly I shouted, Aloba, what are you doing? You know, little knowing that, you know, Aloba uncle, like just 2 years back.
Yeah, yeah.
Everybody looking at me, what I'm shouting. Then I realized, you know, like they're connecting to Aloba uncle, and you know, I mean, I'm shouting on Aloba a lot, you know. And there was, and then a lot of people used to ask, what does it mean? You know, so I could not explain, you know, Aloba and all. So I should say it's so simple. It means God's man, and actually he was God's man.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So I mean, yeah, these are few stories
Thank you.
of his, yeah.
Thank you. And thanks to Semin also for producing, you know, like a magician, the photograph. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this is the later part of Aloba ji. Yeah, excellent. So now Dilshad can see, but somebody, I think Dilshad only requested that a few photographs may be circulated on the group. So postman, our postmaster general, I don't want to call him postman now. He's been elevated to the highest post, you know, postmaster general will do that. All right. So now we go to what I had not promised, but when I said that we'll be talking about. Can you see the photograph behind? Yeah, this is Aloba ji. Wow. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, Rakesh suddenly sent Gupta, he sent me the photo suddenly.
Thanks a lot. Thank you very much. So this was Aloba ji. We remember him with love, with respect. Thank you. All right. Now we talk about the one for whom Aloba ji was passionate about. That is Meher Baba. So now we'll talk about Meher Baba. Can you see the photograph behind me? I don't think I need to bring it out, isn't it? Okay. Okay, can you see this? Right? Okay. Right. Okay. Now, I need to thank Merna's Vanya. Is she there on the group today? Because when Sam wanted me to speak about this, and frankly, I knew somebody had written a write-up. It is somebody's write-up. It's not from Baba. It has a few stories which we know about it. And so Merna's very promptly sent it to me on the WhatsApp, and I took a print of that. So I'm reading it out. It says, Samia, would you like to read this? Samia will read this. So a little.
Beloved, Baba's picture in Kamli coat and toned sandals was taken in 1926 in Ahmednagar, India, in a photo studio against the backdrop of a painted screen depicting the view of a staircase leading up from the drawing room to the upper story of the house. This
Kamli coat and the sandals were very precious possessions of Meher Baba, to a point where now they have been housed in the museum at Mehrabad Hill. And Baba had said about the Kamli coat, but here it says even about the sandal, I don't know about that it should not leave the shores of India. And he wore it for several months together, and to a point where there were so many patches on it that very little of the original material is left, and it's all patched up. And you can always see that at the Mehrabad Museum. Yeah, that comes up.
Such screens with a variety of themes were common in India in photographers' studios. It is well known that 5 perfect masters had helped to facilitate the advent of Meher Baba in this age. Upasni Maharaj was the 5th master whom Meherwan had contacted in Sakori. Baba was then addressed as Meherwan by everyone, not in Sakuri. It was in
As you know, yeah, there's something, because as I said, it's not authentic, but anyway,
in Shirdi.
Baba had gone to Shirdi in December 1915, and that is where Shirdi Sai Baba says, you know, Parvardigar, Parvardigar, Parvardigar 3 times, and that is how the transference of infinite power went from Shirdi Sai Baba to Merwan. And that was the time when Shirdi Sai Baba indicated to Merwan to walk a few meters, a few yards, where there was a temple over there, Khandoba temple, where Upasni Maharaj was staying at the instance of Shirdi Sai Baba. So originally here it is something wrong. Baba did not meet Upasni Maharaj at Sakori. He met him in Shirdi in that temple. Okay, go ahead.
From 1914 to 1921, with breaks in between, Merwan used to visit Sakori and spend time there under the guidance of Upasni Maharaj.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Again, it should be 1915 onwards, because 1915 was the first time when Baba went to meet Shirdi Sai Baba. So it should be 15 onwards.
It was Yashwant Rao, one of the most trusted devotees of Maharaj, who was given the duty of looking after Merwan. On several nights, Yashwant Rao would ply Merwan with cups of tea and betel leaves.
Now, betel leaf is pan. Now, my understanding, what I got to hear from a few sources, reliable sources, was that at that time, of course, Baba did say himself also later on, that Baba was consuming the pan which was having tobacco, whatever you call it, jaffran or whatever, you know. And because I have experienced it once, one gulp of that jaffran pan made me unconscious for a full day. And he would eat tobacco pan one after the other at such a speed that the panwala could not make that pan at such a speed. He could not match with the speed. So you can imagine what must be the state of consciousness of Meher Baba during that time, that he needed so much of pan in order to sort of bring him down. You know, this was a bringing down process, your coming down process. This is my understanding. And I remember we have all been spoken about Carmen Masi. And Carmen Masi's one son was Homi, whom I knew personally. So Homi would say during the Mehrabad days, early days, there is what is known as, he was also a Premashram boy. There is what is known as Pandani. Pandani means a container, spittoon, a container with a long handle. And his job was to go wherever Baba goes, you know, he has to just follow Baba. And whenever Baba does like this to spit the pan, he has to put the Pandani there. And so Baba would spit it in the Pandani. And he also said that the way he would eat chew pan, I mean, he felt, how can a human being sustain himself, survive by eating so many pans in a day, in hundreds and hundreds upon hundreds. It is something beyond our understanding.
The Kamli coat, which Baba is seen wearing in the picture, was presented to him by Yashwant Rao. It is this gift of love that Baba had cherished and worn in Mehrabad and Toka ashrams for a long time. Even when it started wearing out in places, Baba ordered it to be mended and patched up.
Now, here we are talking only about the coat, but the sandals were given as, actually it was, I think, Gulmai. Was it Gulmai? Yeah, Gulmai wanted a sandal to be made, and there was a very nice, cobbler, who made these beautiful sandals for Baba, which Gulmai presented to Baba, and they were built by they were stitched by the grandfather of our Dr. Gadekar. What was his name? Kanoba. Our Dr. Gadekar is there.
Ramchandra Gadekar's
Who's
father.
Ramchandra, our Dr. Gadekar, we all know. Digambar Gadekar. His father is Ramchandra Gadekar, and his father was Kanoba Gadekar. So he was the one who had made or stitched these sandals. Because there's no mention here about it, so I'm just saying it.
There are some interesting features about this glorious picture of Baba. A closer view of the photo will reveal petals from the gorgeous garland he was wearing on that occasion, strewn on the floor around his upholstered chair raised on casters. 2. The tassels of silver thread, kasab, can be seen woven into the garland. 3. The utterly worn out sandals stand out in stark contrast to the immaculate sadra, garment worn under the kamli coat, and the pure white scarf covering his rich, dark crop of hair. Baba's next point, Baba's veins can be seen clearly running under his skin on the right leg and the left hand stretched out with very expressive fingers.
Dr. Goer says that Baba's skin was so tender, so delicate, so translucent that you can actually see the veins running into that. And it was so delicate. And yet, when Baba, embraced somebody, you can feel the strength that was there in him.
Next point, his eyes radiating peace, a gentle, serene smile on his face, and his gaze fixed steadily on the beholder. Many people have felt that in this picture, Baba is portraying himself as God in human form as he really is.
Carry on, Soumya. Another table calendar. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Several reprints of this very special photo have been made and distributed to devotees of beloved Baba throughout India and overseas. In 1920s and 1930s, the family of Era Jassawala, Baba's close disciple, had a house in Nagpur, Maharashtra state, India, in which his mother Gai Mai had a copy of this photo framed and kept. One day, C.D. Deshmukh, a sincere seeker of God, came to their house and asked Gai Mai if she would mind giving the photo to him.
Dr. C.D. Deshmukh, the one who was responsible for bringing out the 5-volume discourses.
The very next day, Gai Mai got a telegram from Baba miles away in Ahmednagar asking why she had driven him, Baba, out of her house. At first, Gai Mai could not understand the import of the telegram, but later she understood that beloved Baba was referring to the framed photo given away by her to Deshmukh. Luckily, that photo was later returned by him to Gai Mai, and today it still hangs in Manu's room, Erech's sister, in Merazad, India. As a passing comment, it is a well-known fact that even today in the Muslim world, millions of devotees believe Hazrat Ali, the son-in-law of Prophet Muhammad, to be the solver of problems. His literal name, Mushkil Kushan, literally meaning killer of difficulties. Over nearly 1,300 years, hundreds of thousands can vouchsafe that they got relief and a way out of the genuine difficulties by taking his name and addressing him in their hearts with full faith thus, Ya Ali, literally meaning, O Ali. It is the author's view that in today's troubled times, devotees of Meher Baba can address him by silently turning their minds and hearts to this beautiful picture and taking refuge at his divine lotus feet.
Now, this he said about the Muslims, but I know of many Parsis. They do what is known as Muskil Asan. And somehow, I don't know, they have related this photo with Muskil Asan. And therefore, among the Parsi community, this photo is referred to as Mathubanu photo with Mathubanu, or even considered as Muskeli Ashan photo. Muskel Ashan means, Muskel means troubles, difficulties, problems, all that. And Ashan means solver, dissolver, remover of Muskeli. So whenever they have any Muskeli, they would pray to that photo and they sort of say that their problems got solved. So that this is the photo.
It is not the way it is actually. Don't go.
No,
They
no,
know
it is not
fully
the way.
well.
Soumya is correcting me. It is, there is not, the thing is in a sense, authentic in the sense. That's why I said this is done by some author. I'm assuming it to be, who's that, Dawar? Jahangir Dawar. I'm assuming it because he was very attached to this photograph and he had given a write-up to the center also. Jahangir Dawar was from Bombay. His mother Najamai was very closely, he was disciple of Meher Baba, and they used to stay at Grant Road, and now he is settled in Sydney. So I assume that it is he who has written this particular narrative of the photo.
They know fully well he will not satisfy their multifarious desires or work miracles to grant them wealth, power, honor, and status in society, but he will definitely help them in their search for God and His love. This photo of beloved Baba is the most precious legacy left by him, in addition to his physical Kambi coat and toned sandals. These two have been hermetically sealed in glass containers and today are housed in the museum in Mehrabad. Beloved Baba had expressly mentioned that the two later items should not be allowed to go abroad but should always remain in India. Beloved Avatar Meher Baba.
Jai Baba. These are now, as you all know, preserved in airtight, whatever you call it, glass container in the museum at the Mehrabad Hill. And Baba's strict instructions that it should not go out of the shores of India. If anybody has, now we have about 3 minutes, but of course we can exceed a bit. If anybody has any questions to ask, by all means go ahead. Or if anybody wants to share anything also, you are most welcome.
There's one thing I want to share.
Yes,
that
yes.
I've distinctly read that Meher Baba has said that this particular photo represents him as a real avatar of the age of all the other photos. This is the one which represents him.
I remember something to the effect that I am in this photo. Something like that. These are the words I remember. But that Baba is everywhere if you look at it that way. Then
no,
there's
not
another
I am in this photo. He said that this photo represents, more than any other photo, represents me as the avatar of the age.
Maybe. I have not read it, but if you are saying it, it must be. Because there's another photograph, we have it, I can show it, where Baba says, if God had a face, he would look like this. And that was a different photograph. I'll see if I can find it out here itself. In the meantime, please ask anything you want to ask. Please ask. All right. This is the photograph. You can see this is a brochure which the Bombay Center has come out many years back. It's called the Avatarhood of Meher Baba. And Baba pointed out at this photograph and said if God had a face, he would look like this. But then at different times he had said different things. And obviously he is there. He's there in everywhere, in everything. And at the same time he says, I'm not this body that you see. It is just a coat that I put on. So all said and done. Yeah, go ahead. Anybody has anything to ask or share, or we call it a day? Yeah, go ahead.
Feroz ji?
Yes, Ji.
I used to remember, I remember one thing when Mandali used to say about this picture, Baba's photograph.
Yes.
You can say a copy of the photograph even in Mandali Hall.
Yes.
Baba early days, every day used to keep a rose flower to the photo.
Okay.
And he
Okay.
used to say, how beautiful you are. Baba used to say to that photo.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what
So he
I still remember.
definitely loved his own food. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes, yes,
That's
yes.
what that I want to share with.
Somebody
Say
asked
Mer Baba.
props and props. That's not the Ali. That's different Ali.
No,
Sobs and
in
props.
Sobs and Tropes, there is another Ali. It is not the story of Ali
That one.
Akbar, Sapur Zaman. No, it's not that story. No, no. Okay, anybody else? Anything to share? Anything to ask?
मैं दारू वाला.
Okay, Mayor Darwala, coming.
May I share it?
Why
I
not?
had- I told Marina, it is a real incident what happened yesterday, Soumya. There was meditation in the evening. And I was in such a deep in meditation, and I had worn my Baba chain. And suddenly but for some reason, I had kept my head up for a minute, and on all the sides, there was Mer Baba on me, on this thing. On my button, there were 2 more Mer Baba pendants and everything. And I was thinking, what is this? Is this true or not? So after the thing got over, I just went to my bedroom, and on my wall, there was Mer Baba, this thing. It was very unusual. So I was really shocked. I said, what's happening today? But everywhere I'm going, in one place, there is Mer Baba with me.
Great.
I was really touched
So
yesterday.
that is a sign that is a sign for you not to worry, not to be anxious about anything, not to backbite, and just keep on remembering Baba because he is with you.
Thank you.
Any such experiences that we have has
Yeah.
only one purpose, to make us come closer and closer and closer to him. Beyond that, we should not give any importance, just to know that he is with us and he's watching over us, and all that we need to do is to hold on to his daman with both hands till the very end. That's what Baba says.
Thank you.
Thank
Jai
you, dear.
Baba.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now we are already what, 6:02. If there's anything, then we call it a day.
Ruchi and then start.
Who?
Ruchi.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, Cyrus and Soumya. Jai Baba.
Good evening to you. Good evening.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask one thing, Cyrus. I was reading God Speak, and I was also in a meeting with Jimmy Uncle and all. So what came across was that if there is some, he was talking about this level of consciousness which we have when we are in the physical body. And if the 4th level of consciousness is so heavy and so it's so dangerous that in case if you misuse it or you go wrong there, then you just go back to the stone impression age.
Correct.
But I was also, somewhere I had read that maybe Baba said, or somewhere I remember that once you get a human body, you always stay in a human body. You don't go beyond that.
There's
So
an
I just-
exception. There is an exception to the rule, and this is the exception. That if you
Okay.
misuse your power, your consciousness shatters, it disintegrates, and you have to start the whole game again from the stone state. This is the
Okay.
only exception. This is the only exception. So from the stone
Oh.
stage.
Yeah.
Got it?
Okay. Yeah, got it, Cyrus. Thank you.
This is the only exception where what Baba calls that the consciousness is always progressive and not regressive. Yeah, retrogressive consciousness is not there. In other words, being born a man, woman, human being, you can't go back to the animal or a fish or a bird. But this is the only exception where if you misuse the power of a Kuber, he's called a Kuber or a Mahayogi, on the 4th plane, then you go back, you start all the way from the stone state. But that's a very, very, very rare occurrence, because people on the 5th plane, people on the 6th plane, as well as the perfect masters, and if the avatar is there, then the avatar as well, they are all very watchful of this particular plane, whosoever is on that plane, so that they do not misuse the powers. So it is there. It has happened in the past, Baba says, but it's a very, very, very rare occurrence. But that exception is there to the general rule that consciousness is always progressive. Okay. Ruchi, did you get the answer? All right. So I think we are done.
Dilshad.
Dilshad. Come in, Dilshad.
Jai Baba.
Come in. Jai Baba, dear.
Jai Baba, apologies for not being able to put my video on today.
Oh, I thought you were apologizing